Router component. This is a topic we are going to discuss today. So we already studied about router, right? What is the router? A router is a networking device. It operates in layer 3, right? It operates layer 3. It has been used to connect two different networks. That is the purpose of router. Router is a networking device. It operates in layer 3. It has multiple ports as well as multiple interfaces are available. It's used to connect two different networks. The example, LAN to WAN, WAN to WAN, and LAN to LAN if they are in the different network. Okay, that's the purpose of router. Router will do packet forwarding, packet filtering activity. It will do. Okay. So in router we have two protocol available: routing protocol and router protocol. Routing protocol has been used to find out the best path. Router protocol has been used to forward the information from source to destination. Okay, this all comes under router here. So today we are going to discuss about router component. So what are the component available in the router? Okay, what are the component? Okay, it might be hardware component, right? What are the component available in the router? So when I say component here, there are internal component and external components. Internal component means what? The component which is available inside the router. Okay, external component, the component which is available externally. That's called external component. Router, we have classified, router component has been classified into internal component and external component. Internal component means the component which is available inside the router. External component means the component which is available externally. This is the external component we are going to discuss. Clear? Okay. We know this router has been used for making communication between the two different networks. That is the purpose of router. So router has been classified into fixed router and modular router. Router has been classified into fixed router and modular router. So what is the difference between fixed router and modular router? Okay, we are going to discuss what is the difference between fixed router and modular router. The router, in which we cannot replace the component. Suppose, for example, if there is any problem happen in the serial port of the router, or if there is any problem happen in the AUI port of the router, we cannot replace it. Okay, we cannot replace the component. There we have to replace only the router. It's similar to your branded PC. Okay, it's fixed. Branded PC means what? We cannot modify the component. It's a fixed. It's similar to branded PC. The router in which the component can be replaced is called as what? Modular router. So it's like a assembled PC. We can modify the components. Okay, based on our requirement, we can modify the component. Okay, the router in which we cannot modify the interface, is called a fixed router. The router in which we can modify the component, is called as what? Modular router. Fixed router is also called as non-modular router. Also called as non-modular router. The router model actually, we have multiple routers are available. Okay, we are going to discuss about series of router actually. So up to 2500 series router is called as non-modular router or fixed router. Up to 2500 series, that is 2500 series. When I say 2500 series here, 2501, 2502, 2503, 2504, this comes under 2500 series, 2500 series we can say. That is called as a fixed router, or we can say non-modular router. Okay, after 2500 series, that is 2600 series, or comes under modular router. Okay, 2600 series comes under modular router. Example they are giving like a up to 2500 series is nothing but fixed router. There are some exceptions available. That is nothing but 1600, 1700 series are exception because it comes under modular router. Comes under modular router. So you can see the model here. Okay, non-modular router example and modular router example here. So 800 series, that's a router model. Like a mobile phone, we are having different model available, right? iPhone, we can, if we go for iPhone, iPhone 5, 5s, 6, 6 plus, 7, 8, lot of models available, right? Same as here in router also. We have different model available. 800, 900, 2500, Okay, so well, like a 1600 series, some lot of models are available. Up to 2500 series model is called as non-modular router, or we can say fixed router. After 2500 series router, that is 2600 series router, is nothing but your modular routers. So how we can identify whether it's non-modular or modular router here? How we can identify whether it's non-modular or modular router here? Like a, I'll show you here. So okay, we are going to see about the modular router and non-modular router here. So the router, you can see this router actually, this router model here. This is about 2500 series router, 250 series router. In 2500 series router, we can see, okay, the components are fixed here. Like we can say AUI is available here. Then we can say serial ports are available. Serial ports are available here. Two AUI, AUI 0 and AUI 1 port available. AUI 0, okay, AUI 1 is available here. Some serial ports are available. Serial ports are available here, right? Serial ports are available. So serial ports available here. Then we can say AUI port also available here. So this is nothing but components of fixed component. All the components are fixed here. We cannot modify anything. Okay, we cannot modify anything. But when it comes to, okay, 2600 series router, the components are nothing but modular. We can change it. Okay, we can see the screws here. Okay, if you want to replace the module here, there is a still put available, right? If you want to replace, we have a screw available. We can replace this one. We can add the module here. If you want to have NM4AS card, we can add it here. NM8AS, that's serial port. Okay, we can add the module. Okay, this is the port, we can add the module. You can see available here. So this is the port, we can add the module here. Okay, so this model router is nothing but, okay, modular router. So there we can see the number also. Okay, 26 model series available here. Okay, we can replace the component. Okay, in the modular router, non-modular router, we cannot replace the component. Okay, so you can see the router model here. This is nothing but 2501 model. In 2501 model, okay, it's a fixed router, right? Fixed router means what? Non-modular router. The components are fixed here. AUI, okay, AUI available here. We cannot replace the component. If there is any fault here, we cannot replace the component. AUI, serial port available here. Serial port, console port, auxiliary port, power on, okay, power supply. So in this 2501 model, we have power supply available here. Power supply, okay, on off switch, console port, auxiliary port. Okay, then we have serial port available, and also we have AUI. These are the components available in 2501 model. Okay, 2501 model. These are the component available. But when I see, okay, 250, okay, 2601 model, 2610 model, okay, it will be different. Okay, this is that comes under modular router. We can replace the component. I show you, this is the router I show you right now. This router, we can replace the component. We can replace the module. That's what is called as what? Modular router. The difference you understood, right? Non-modular means what? Non-modular, we cannot replace the component. Everything is fixed here. All the components fixed. But when it comes to modular router, the components are fixed. Okay, the modular router, the components we can replace. Component we can replace. But modular router, we can replace the component. Non-modular router, we cannot replace the component. Okay, we can see this screw here. We can remove this plate. We can add the module. So you can see slot available, right? So we can add the module. What are the module required? We can add the module. Here we can add NM4AS module. We can add. Here we can add. Okay, serial port also we can add here. So this is a component, Excel component. When I go for 2600 series router, we have power card available, on-off switch, console, auxiliary, fast Ethernet ports are available, and also serial port available here. Fast and serial port. So these are the components available there in 2600 model. So the difference you can see here, in 2600 model, we have fast Ethernet is available. But when it comes to 25 series here, we have, okay, AEV is available. We have AEV, attachment unit interface. But 2600, we have fast Ethernet interface available. That means what? This is a LAN port. Okay, fast is nothing but LAN interface. Okay, here AEV is a LAN interface. Okay, AEV is LAN interface. Then this component, serial port available, right? That is nothing but WAN interface. LAN interface and WAN interface. Okay, LAN interface and WAN interface. We'll discuss that also. Okay, what is the LAN interface? What is WAN interface? The interface which is connected to LAN is called as LAN interface. The interface which is connected to WAN is called a WAN interface. So the fast Ethernet will be connected to LAN. Okay, serial port has been connected to WAN network. We'll discuss. You can see the diagram here. The real router here. This is the router. We have multiple components available in the router. Okay, AEY. AEY is also called as LAN interface. So LAN interface has been connected to LAN here. Simple LAN diagram. We already discussed about LAN here. In a switch, we have multiple pieces are available. It's called a LAN network. One of the port from the switch has been connected to AEY. So AEY is nothing but your LAN interface. AEY is nothing but attachment unit interface. AEY. Attachment unit interface is LAN interface. Another one, okay, we can see here WAN interface. WAN interface is connected to where? ISP. It has been connected to ISP. WAN interface, we have two serial interface available. Okay, serial 0 as well as serial 1 is available here. So one serial port has been connected to one ISP, another serial port has been connected to another ISP. Okay, so in company and all, we are not depending on only one ISP. Okay, like in company, most of the company will have more than two ISPs. Okay, like here we can say one serial interface has been connected to one ISP, another serial interface has been connected to another ISP. ISP means what? Internet service provider. Those who are providing the internet connection. So here we have ports are available. Console port, auxiliary port available, right? This port has been used for configuring the networking devices. Configuring, because router, okay, is nothing but a hardware, a box, right? How it need to operate, how it need to work. So we need to configure. We need to configure in such a way that it has to operate. Suppose, for example, if you want to configure the IP address for the router, if you want to configure the host name for the router, okay, everything we have to configure via console port or auxiliary port. Okay, apart from that, we have one more port also available called virtual terminal port. Three ports are available: console, auxiliary, and virtual terminal. Okay, this is the component available there in the router. So we understood here switch. We connected with multiple PC. Okay, we connect with multiple PC. This is called a LAN, local area network. If you want to get internet connection for this LAN network, we have to connect it to router. Okay, where we have to connect with the router? We have to connect to LAN interface of the router. LAN interface, when it comes to 2500 series, we have AUI, attachment unit interface available, right? That is called as LAN interface. AUI, attachment unit interface is called as LAN interface. Okay, clear. When you go for 2600 series router, we have fast Ethernet is available. That is called as for LAN interface. Okay, in 2500 series, we have AUI, attachment unit interface. In 2600 series, we have fast Ethernet is available. So we can connect to fast Ethernet. Directly we can connect to fast Ethernet. But here, if you want to connect to, okay, if you want to connect to AEY, we require some adapter. Okay, we require some adapter. The adapter name RJ45 to DB15 adapter we have to use for connecting this RJ45 cable to AEY. We need to have adapter. Okay, RJ45 to DB15 adapter required for us. DB is nothing but database. Data bus. DB is nothing but data bus. RJ45 to DB15, 15 pins are available. 15. That's called DB15. This is also called as transceiver. 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 So we understood here the external component we understood right now. What are the component available? We are having LAN interface, WAN interface. Then we have console port, auxiliary port, power supply. Then connected to power switch. This is the components available there in the router. LAN interface can be connected to LAN. WAN interface has been connected to WAN here. Console and auxiliary has been used for configuring the networking devices. The LAN interface which is available in 2500 series router is nothing but what? AUI, attachment unit interface. The LAN interface which is available there in the 2600 series is called as what? Fast Ethernet. Serial port is same. Here we have serial 0, serial 1, same as in the 2600 series also. So you can see simplified here, router component has been classified into hardware component and software component. Hardware again classified into internal component and external component. Right now we studied about external components. External component again classified into interface and ports. Interface we have LAN interface and WAN interface. LAN interface, there are two types available, AUI as well as fast Ethernet. AUI is also called as Ethernet interface. It supports 10 Mbps, but when it comes to fast Ethernet, it supports 100 Mbps. WAN interface, right now we are using serial interface. Serial interface is nothing but WAN interface. There are ports, different ports available, console port, auxiliary port and virtual terminal. Console, auxiliary and virtual terminal. This port has been used for configuring the networking devices. Console port has been used, console port or auxiliary port and virtual terminal port has been used for configuring the networking devices. So difference we'll study. Why we are using console port, why we are using auxiliary port, why we are using virtual terminal also we'll discuss later. Right now you should understand about router component has been classified into hardware and software. When I say software, we have IOS, Internet Networking Operating System. So in our laptop, PC and all we have some OS available, right? Operating system. That is OS is nothing but operating system. Similarly, in all the networking devices, we have OS available, that is called as IOS, Internet Networking Operating System. IOS. Internet Networking Operating System. So in all your router, switches, firewall, all the networking devices, we have OS available called as IOS, Internet Networking Operating System. So right now we are going to study about internal components also. What are the components available? So this is nothing but your external component, AUI, attachment unit interface, which is available there in 2500 series router. This AUI is also called as Ethernet interface, which support 10 Mbps. In 2600 series router, we have fast Ethernet interface available. Fast Ethernet interface available, which support 100 Mbps speed. So that's the difference between AUI as well as fast Ethernet. Both are LAN interface. So you can see here WAN interface available. LAN interface available there. Administrative interface we can say, or administrative ports also we can say. LAN interface, AUI as well as fast Ethernet interface available. AUI and fast Ethernet interface. WAN interface, we have serial port available. Serial port is considered WAN interface. WAN interface here, and also console port as well as auxiliary port, and as well as virtual terminal has been used for configuring the networking devices. Configuration means what? We are going to provide the instruction to the router. That is called as configuration. Configuring. We are providing the command for the router. This is called as configuration. Configuring the router. the component, internal component. What are the component available inside the router? Okay. So you can see here power supply. Okay, in the component power supply available here. Power supply. This is called a power supply. Flash memory. Okay, this is nothing but this is the slot for adding the flash memory. Slot available here, right? This slot for adding the flash memory. ROM. ROM. Then this slot available here for adding the RAM. Okay, then CPU. Processor. This is the location where processor is available. Processor is here. Okay, so these are the component available inside the router. Okay, that's called as internal components. Okay, so four main component available here. Four main component. What are the four main component here? Flash memory, RAM, ROM, NVRAM. Flash memory, RAM, ROM, NVRAM. RAM, random access memory. ROM, read only memory. NVRAM, non volatile random access memory. Okay, this is the main component available in the router. Four main internal components: flash memory, RAM, ROM, and NVRAM. So what is the function of each component? We'll see here. Flash memory. I told you flash, right? Okay, the IO is the internetworking operating system is available in the flash memory by default. IO is available there in the flash memory by default. Other location also we can keep the IOs. Okay, we can keep the IOs in the TFTP server also we can keep the IOs. But default, okay, default IOs has been available there in the flash memory. First thing. Next, running configuration. Running configuration that is available there in the RAM. What is running configuration? Okay, when you say you are opening the router, you are typing some configuration. Okay, the configuration is okay. The configuration is currently temporary only. If power goes off, what will happen? The configuration will not be available there in the router. Okay, that is a temporary memory. That is called as what? Running configuration. Okay, what about startup configuration? Permanently saved in the router. That is called as startup configuration. Okay, that is nothing but permanent memory. So RAM is called as temporary memory. NVRAM is called as permanent memory. Okay, so when you open a router, you are doing some kind of configuration. I told you, right? Configuring the IP for the router, you are configuring, right? That is called as what? RAM. You are typing in the RAM. That means you are working in the running configuration. But if you want to save the configuration, we have to save it in the NVRAM. Okay, that is nothing but permanent memory. Example I can say, one example I can say here, like you are having a PC. Okay, you are having a PC here. You open a notepad in the PC. Okay, you open a notepad in the PC here. Okay, this is notepad. Okay, notepad in the PC. You are working in the notepad. Okay, maybe you are working in the notepad here. Okay, you can say something you are working in the learning notepad here. You are typing some data you are typing in the notepad. Suddenly power goes off. What will happen? The notepad will be saved in the desktop or not? No, right? It won't be saved in the computer, right? Okay, it vanished, right? But if you want to save the information, what do we have to do? We have to go to file in the notepad, save as. We have to save it in the hard disk, right? Same as in the router also. Okay, the router you are working, right? The router you are working, right? The working location. Okay, whatever you are doing, the working location is called as what? Running configuration. Running configuration. You want to save it in the hard disk, I told you, right? PC, right? Similarly, here you have to save it in the NVRAM. Okay, this is nothing but RAM. Okay, RAM. You are working in the RAM. If you want to save the configuration, you have to save it in the what? NVRAM. Okay, that is called as startup configuration. NVRAM. You are saving the information, right? That is called as startup configuration. Configuration. That is called as NVRAM. You are working in the RAM. You are saving the information in the NVRAM. So a RAM I told you, right? That is nothing but what? Temporary memory. This is nothing but temporary memory. NVRAM I told you, right? This is nothing but permanent memory. Temporary memory and permanent memory. Okay. So a RAM running configuration. It's a temporary memory. If you want to see the information, RAM, I want to see the RAM information, or I want to see the running configuration, what is the command we have to apply? We have to use show run command or show running -config command we have to apply in the router. If you want to see the running I want to see my running configuration information. Show run command. Show run command has been used to view the running configuration. Okay, this command has been used to view the running configuration. Okay. I want to see my startup configuration information. Then what is the command I can give? Show startup. This is the command. Show startup command. Show startup command has been used to view the startup configuration. Okay. So if you want to view the running configuration, I can give show run command. If you want to view the startup configuration, I have to give the show startup command. So running configuration, the information is available in the running configuration, right? So I want to move the information. I want to move the what are the information available in the running configuration into startup configuration. What is the command I have to apply? Copy run start command I have to apply. Copy COPY run startup. Shortcut this command run and startup everything shortcut here in the router. Suppose in the router, okay, in the privilege mode, we will discuss about everything. Okay, this command we have to apply. Copy run start command to move my running configuration information into startup configuration. Okay. So right now, how many commands we discuss right now? We discussed 3 commands. Show run command, show startup, copy run start command. Show run command to view the running configuration. Show startup command to view the startup configuration. Copy run start command to save the configuration from running into startup. Okay, one more memory we discussed, right? That is called a flash memory. Flash. So what is the information available there in the flash memory? It's nothing but IOS. Okay, inter-networking operating system is available there in the flash memory. ROM. Okay, RAM, random access memory. ROM, read-only memory. In ROM, what is the information available? In ROM, we have post, bootstrap information. Bootstrap. Okay, bootstrap information. Post and bootstrap information available there in the ROM. So post, okay, I hope you heard this name actually. Post is nothing but power on self test. When you open your PC, when you press the start button on your PC here or power on your PC, first activity is nothing but what? Post activity only. Post means what? Power on self test. It will check the component whether all the components available there in the router are working properly or not. Check all the hardware components whether it's properly working or not. That is called a post. For power on self test, it check whether all the hardware components are properly working or not. That is post activity. Bootstrap is nothing but mini IOS. Bootstrap is mini IOS. Mini IOS. So in PC and all, we are saying BIOS, right? BIOS setting. So if the PC is not properly working, actually, first step is to enter into BIOS mode only, right? That's same as here. Okay, mini IOS. That's Bootstrap. It stores the configuration register value. Okay, Bootstrap stores the configuration register value. Configuration register value. Okay, by default, this is the value 0x2102. This is the default value available there in the router. Configuration register value. Okay. So what are the main components available there in the router? 4 main components are there, right? One is nothing but what? One is nothing but flash. In flash, we are storing IOS. IOS stored in the flash memory. Second component, RAM. Random access memory. Running configuration stored in the random access memory. RAM. Starter configuration stored in the, okay, next component is nothing but NVRAM. Okay, starter configuration stored in the NVRAM. Starter configuration stored in the NVRAM. Finally, ROM, read-only memory. Here, post and bootstrap are stored in the ROM. Here, post as well as bootstrap are stored in the ROM. Okay, this is the component available there in the router. Okay, so you can see IOS available in the flash memory, stored in the flash memory. Running configuration stored in the RAM. Starter configuration stored in the NVRAM. Okay, post here, post as a bootstrap available there in the ROM. Okay, bootstrap is a mini IOS similar to BIOS in the PC. ROM, okay, flash IOS, Internet Networking Operating System. Okay, developed by Cisco is stored here only. The IOS are available there in the, okay, flash memory. Okay, the IOS is nothing but what? We can be using this IOS only for configuring the router. We'll discuss. ROM, bootstrap. Okay, bootstrap program is located here. Is same as the BIOS in the PC. BIOS in the PC here. NVRAM, non-volatile random access memory, is similar to your hard disk. Okay, permanent storage. Hard disk means what? Permanent storage. Permanently storing the information. So the information which is available here is called as startup configuration. RAM, random access memory, is a temporary memory. Okay, temporary storage here. Okay, your running configuration are stored in the RAM here. Running configuration stored in the RAM. Processor. Okay, processor might be we are using Motorola processor or Intel. Currently we are using Intel actually. Okay, Motorola processor also we are using Intel processor we are using. Next thing, a router boot process. What will happen if you power on the router? Okay, what are the steps that will happen if you power on the router? Router boot process. Okay, similarly PC also we have process available, right? PC boot process, same as router boot process. What is the activity will happen? When you power on the router here, okay, when you power on the router, the first activity is nothing but what? Post. Power on self-test. In power on self-test, it will check whether all the hardware components, are properly working or not. Whether all the hardware components are properly working or not. If all the hardware components are properly working only, it goes to next step. Otherwise, it stops there itself. If all the hardware components are working fine, because it's checking the hardware components, whether everything is working or not. If everything is working fine, it goes to next step. Next step is nothing but bootstrap. What bootstrap will do? Bootstrap, okay, it by default it has some configuration register value. I told you. The default it has configuration register value. So bootstrap will check the configuration register value. By default 0x2102 is the default value. What this value represents? This value represents that my IOS has been available there in the flash memory. Okay, I told the default IOS has been available in the flash memory, right? That's what they represent. My starter has been available there in the NVRAM. Startup is nothing but your startup configuration. Okay, your permanent memory available there in the NVRAM. Okay, so that is the information it provided by this configuration register value. So this is the value for default value available there in the router, right? Apart from that, we have other values also available, like a 2101, 2142, 2100. This value is also available, okay, in the router. So 2101 represents ROM IOS. 2100 represents ROM monitor mode. 2142 represents password recovery. That means what? This value has been used for entering into different modes. Okay, so this is the value. So by default 0121 represents, okay, 021 represents IOS has been available there in the flash memory. Starter has been available there in the NVRAM. That is what 2102 represents. What the first activity will do? We have iOS, right? Next, locating the iOS. iOS, locating the iOS. Then loading the iOS. That's the activity. Okay, it identifies where the iOS is located, right? So it locates the iOS and then loading the iOS. Okay, iOS has been loaded into RAM. Okay. Next thing, starter configuration. Locating the starter configuration. Starter configuration sometimes available, sometimes not available. When it will be available, when it will be not available. So if it is a old router, okay, that means what? You already configure and you save the information in the starter configuration. That time starter configuration will be available here. If it is a new router, starter configuration will not be available. Okay, understood? So if it is a old router, you already configure the router, you save the information in the NVRAM, starter configuration available there. If it's a fresh router, new router, starter configuration won't be available. Okay, but here, as per the process, it will check whether startup is available or not. Startup is available or not. Sometimes available, sometimes not available. If it is a old router, it's available. If it is available, what I have to do? I have to move to running configuration. If startup is available, I can enter into running configuration where I am going to work. Okay, so this is a place I am going to work because startup is already available there, right? Directly enter into running configuration. There I can work. If startup is not available, it will ask question. Okay, would you like to enter into initial configuration dialog box? This is a question it will ask. Would you like to enter into initial configuration dialog box? This is a question it will ask. For this question, you have to say no always. Why? If you say yes, actually, it enter into setup mode. In setup mode, around 13 questions are there. It will ask you your post name. It will ask you the enable password. It will ask you the enable secret password. It will ask you console password. Almost 13 questions are there. Okay. If you want to do the basic configuration, you can enter into setup mode. Okay. You want to configure, you want to configure advanced level of configuration, like ACL, NAT, everything you want to configure more. Then you have to go for, you have to give no command to skip the setup mode. Okay, sir, I enter into setup mode, sir. I want to move to running config. What I have to do? Control C command. Control C command. Even though if you enter into setup mode, you want to skip it. Okay, Control C. Control C command to move to running configuration. Okay, so first activity. When you power on your router, first activity but post. Power on self-test. You check whether all the hardware components are working fine or not. Yes, all the hardware components are working. It goes to next activity, bootstrap. In bootstrap, they'll check, okay, whether configuration value is 0x2102 or not. If the default value available, okay, it represents that my iOS has been available there in the flash memory. Startup is available there in the NVRAM. First thing, it locate the iOS, where iOS is available. Then load the iOS. Okay, yes, iOS has been loaded into RAM. Next thing, it locate the starter configuration, available or not. Yes, startup is available. What I have to do? Startup is available. Yes, it will ask a question. Startup is available. Okay, it will check whether startup is available or not. There are two options available here: available or not available. If it is available, directly it enter into running configuration. There you are going to work. If startup is not available, it will ask a question. Okay, yes or no. You have to press yes. You have to put yes or no. If you say yes here, it enter into setup mode. In setup mode, it will ask for only 13 questions. You have to answer only 13 questions only. If you want to do basic configuration, you can enter into setup mode. If you want to do advanced level of configuration, you have to go for another. Not you have to skip the setup mode. You have to go to running configuration. So if you say yes, it will enter setup mode. If you say no, it will enter to running configuration. Suppose you enter into setup mode, you want to skip. You have to press Control C. Control C command. Okay, same steps here. Post, power on self-test, checking the hardware component, whether all the hardware component are working fine or not. Next thing, bootstrap. Okay, bootstrap is what? Checking the configuration register value. By default, 0x2102. It represents that my iOS has been available there in the flash memory. my starter has been available there in the NVNAV. Okay, next activity. Okay, bootstrap. Check the configuration register value. Okay, that is finding the whether loading the iOS, right? Locating the iOS, loading the iOS, right? When I locate the iOS and loading the iOS, three options are available. Okay, one option nothing but by default it's available there in the flash memory. Suppose if iOS is not available, sir, where I need to check the iOS? Then I need to check the iOS in the TFTP server. Okay, so whether it's available or not. If TFTP server also iOS is not available, then I have to check in the ROM. Okay, if iOS is available in the ROM, directly load the iOS. Okay, and then locate it. Okay, check for startup configuration. That is the next activity. Check for startup configuration available or not. If it is available, directly enter into the running configuration. If it is not available, it will enter into setup mode. Okay, it will ask question actually. If you say yes here, it will enter in setup mode. If say no here, it will enter into running configuration. Same steps. The difference here is I told you here. Okay, if the iOS is not available in the flash memory, where I need to check the iOS? Check in the TF-test server, whether it's available. If it is not available here, check in the row. So this process. So configuration. Okay, I want to configure the router. What I have to do? There are three methods. There are three methods in which we can configure the router. I can configure via console method, or I can configure via auxiliary, or I can configure via virtual terminal. Console, auxiliary, and virtual terminal. So three methods available: console configuration, auxiliary configuration, and virtual configuration. So we discussed about console port and auxiliary port, right? Okay, when we have to use console port, when we have to use auxiliary port, and when we have to go for virtual terminal, we'll discuss. So to configure the router or to access the router, to log into the router, okay, what are maybe three methods available. Through console I can log in, through auxiliary I can log in, through virtual terminal I can log in. The difference is nothing but, okay, console configuration. If you are having physical access to the router, okay, physical access. For example, I am having my router with me. Okay, I want to configure. I am having my router with me. Directly, I can connect my PC into the router. This is nothing but console configuration. Directly connect my PC. Directly connect my PC into the router. That is called as what? Console configuration. Console configuration. Auxiliary. Okay, in console configuration. When we are using console configuration, first time configure. I want to configure my router for first time. I want to configure the router for first time. Then I have to go for console configuration. Okay, next thing, I have physical access. I am having physical access to the router because router is with me. I am that network admin. I am going to control my router. I am having full access for the router. Then I can go forward. Okay, console configuration. Next, in case of password recovery, I forgot the password. Okay, I want to recover the password. I have to configure. I have to go via console method only. Okay, so these are the places where we are going to use console configuration. So console configuration is also known as local administrative port. Okay, generally used for initial configuration only. That is nothing but first time configuration, initial configuration, password recovery, local administration of the router. That time we have to go for console port here. Okay, how to connect actually? So connecting your console port, we are going to discuss this one. Connecting your console port, that's nothing but your roller cable. Connecting your roller cable. So one end of the roller cable, you have to connect it to your router. Okay, another end of the roller cable, you have to connect a roller cable, or you have to connect it to your PC to configure. Here, console configuration. Okay, console configuration here. This is nothing but your adapter. So one end of the adapter, this adapter end actually, okay, DB9, DB9, you have to connect it to your router, serial port of the router. Other end is nothing but RJ45. RJ45, you need to connect it to your console port of the router, serial port of the PC and console port of the router. Serial port has to be connected here. Other end has to be connected to console port. Here you can see here. Okay, this is the thing, diagram actually. See, this is nothing but serial port here. Serial port you are connecting. Another end you are connected to the console port here. Okay, console cable, ready-made cable. I'll show you here. Ready-made cable here. Okay, next thing, auxiliary port. Auxiliary port, auxiliary configuration require modem. Okay, how we have to use the modem here? Okay, we have to use the modem like uh, from the auxiliary port, we have to connect the cable to a modem. Then telephone line. From there, we have to connect to telephone line. From the telephone line, we have to connect to modem, which is available there at the other end. Again, from there, PC has been connected. Through the PC, we can connect the router here. So first method, I will show here the first method, how it look like. And second method, I will show you. Okay, first, for example, you are having a router with you. Okay, you are having a router. The router, we have console port available, right? We have seen the console port here. Console port, CON, console port. Okay, I want to configure the router. Directly you can connect. Directly you can connect your PC and configure the router. Okay, this is nothing but what? Console configuration. Directly you are connecting and configuring. This is nothing console configuration. This is the router here. This is PC. Router here. Directly connecting and configuring. So in the PC, we have to connect it to serial port. PC serial port to networking device console port. We have to connect. Right now, USB also available. USB has been connected to your laptop. Other end we have console cable, also console port. That's nothing but your RJ45 has been connected to console port to configure the router. This method is nothing but what? Console configuration. Second method is nothing but auxiliary configuration. In auxiliary configuration, okay, so example here, this is an auxiliary port, AUX. We have to connect this auxiliary port to a modem. Modem here. So from the modem, we have to take a telephone cable. Okay, might be telephone cable here, telephone cable. Other end, again I have to connect a modem. Modem modulation, demodulation, modem here. Again, I can use a PC to configure the device, router here. Okay, second method. First method what? Directly connecting your PC to the console port of the router and configure the router. First method. Second method, you are connecting your modem. Again, telephone cable. Okay, this is the name of telephone cable. Okay, PSN line, telephone cable. Okay, telephone cable we are connecting. Our PSTN line, public switching telephone network, PSTN, public switching telephone network, we can say. That again, we have to connect a modem, then connect it with PC and configure. Okay, this method is nothing but auxiliary mode configuration. One more method available. Okay, this method, where we are using this method, if I have physical access to the router. Okay, if I have physical access, then first time configuration, then password recovery. I have to go for this method. If I have physical access, password recovery, physical access. If I have physical access, password recovery, first time configuration. First time configuration. But what about this one? This one has been used as a backup. Okay, backup link only. Backup link actually. So dial on demand. What do you mean dial on demand? Whenever required. Okay, whenever demand, then only I have to use it. Otherwise, I won't use it because I am using a telephone cable, right? The data will be sending on a telephone cable will be very slow. Okay, it's not much fast actually. So right now we are not using right now. Okay, right. Initial days we used this as a ISDN. This cable has been used for ISDN connectivity, but right now we are not using at all. Okay, because this cable is very slow. Okay, if I send any data via this cable, it's very slow. So right now we bought multiple ISP. Okay, even one ISP goes down also, we have other ISP to support us. Okay, so dial on demand. Dial on demand. So Dial on demand is nothing but whenever require, I have to go for it. That's what dial on demand. Okay. So in case of disaster, okay, disaster might be cyclone, flood, okay, any kind of earthquake, we cannot go there, right? Okay, that time telephone cable operates. During the period, we can access the router via telephone cable. Okay, that's what you can say. During disaster recovery also, we can go for accelerated configuration. This is used as a backup link. Okay, so known as a remote administrative port here, used for remote administration. RJ45 port only we are using. Okay, console port or auxiliary port is can be used here. Telnet. Third method to configure the router is Telnet. Right now, if you are working in any MNC company, your router will be okay. For example, your routers are available. You are supporting a project which is in UK. Okay, you are going to access the router from India. In that case, what will happen? Okay, you want to remotely access the router, right? Which method we can go? Can I go for console method? No, right? We cannot go for. Can I go for auxiliary method? No, right? We have to go for virtual terminal only. Remotely log into the router. Okay, you are sitting in India. You want to access the router. You want to access the firewall, which is available there in the UK. We have to go for telnet configuration. Telnet or SSH. Remote log into the router. Okay, so telnet telecommunication network here. We have to provide the IP address for the remote device. If you provide the IP address, it will ask for password. If you know the password, you can directly enter into the router. For example, okay, example here. You are sitting in India. Okay, sitting in India here. Okay, you are supporting the UK customer. Might be UK customer you are supporting here. UK customer you are supporting. So you are working in the project. So what actually will do? You are connected with ISP. Okay, one ISP here. Okay, here the UK in UK also they are connected with other ISP. Okay, they are also connected with other ISP here. The device is connected with other ISP. If it is router, we can say router also is available there the ISP here. So I want to access, right? So this is connected with the ISP here. This is also connected with the ISP. Okay, if you want to access, I have to connect with the internet only. So from my PC, I have to type telnet. Telnet of what? Telnet. The IP address of the router. For example, the IP address of the router is something but example I can say 20.30. Okay, 40.50 here. So this IP address I have to type here. Telnet along with the IP. The command prompt I have to type telnet along with the IP. Then it will ask for password. Password. If you provide the password, automatically what happens? If you provide the password here, it shows a router. This symbol will get router. That means what? You are in India, you are directly access the router which is available there in the US. Okay, this is nothing but what? Remote login. Okay, so currently most of the MNC company are using this method only for logging into the router. There are two protocols required for it. Telnet also we can do or SSH. Okay, SSH also we can do. Remote login. You can see the diagram. You can easily understood here how it look like. Okay, three setup also in a single diagram. Okay, for center one. So here PC is directly connected to console port. Directly I can configure. Second one auxiliary. PC modem. Modem to other modem, then PC. Through that I can configure my router. Second method. Third method ISP. Okay, India. So I connect with the ISP here. Again I connect with the internet. Again I connect with ISP. From there connect to the serial port. Okay, so these are the method available for configuring the router. Not only router, networking devices. Finally, software. I want to configure the router, right? So I connect my PC. I connected my PC to the router here. But how to configure? We need some kind of software, right? Lot of third-party software available. We have TerraTerm, Hyperterm, Putty, Secure Security, lot of software, lot of third-party software available for configuring the router. Okay, so you can use anything. Teratam also you can use, PuTTY also you can use, whatever you want. You can use any kind of any kind of software. Most of the MNC company they are using PuTTY as a software here. Okay, before going for completion here, just I want to show you the route, how you are going to connect the router to the console port. Okay, so this is your console cable. Okay, in the console cable we can see from this end to this end is nothing but roller cable. Again we have adapter available. This adapter is called as what? RJ45 to DB9 adapter. 9 pins are available. That's called DB9. DB is nothing but data bus. DB9. So this end I want to connect, I have to connect it to my PC serial port. Okay, PC serial port I want to connect this end. This end I want to connect it to my router. Okay. So for example, so in the PC, backs, okay, rear end, we have port available, serial ports are available, right? Okay, there we can connect it. Okay, this is serial port here. The serial port we can connect. Okay, so like that I can connect here. So this is the way I can connect my port here. Okay, so this is the method. Clear? I can connect. So other end of the cable available, right? Other end of the cable. Other end of the cable, I have to connect it to my console port of the router. Okay, console port. So where is the console port available in the router? We can say console port is available here, right? So console port is available here. Okay, this is the console port. So I can connect it to my console port here. So this is the method. Okay. So this method is nothing but what? Console port configuration. Connecting your PC serial port to networking device console port to configure the router. Okay. Directly I can power on the router, I can configure. Okay. Good. So okay, what we discussed today, router components. Router component we discussed. So component we can say internal component and external component. So there are different types of component available. It has been classified into fixed router as well as modular router. Fixed router is nothing but the router we cannot replace the we cannot replace the component. It's called a fixed router. Modular router we can replace the component. Okay, that's called modular router. So there are different models available. 800 series, 900 series, 2500 series. We have different model available here. So these are component available there in the router. Okay, 2501 model. We have AEY serial port. Okay, console port, auxiliary, and power supply available. So this model is nothing but 26 model. We can see modular. Okay, this is nothing modular router. We can replace the component. Components. Okay, external component. In external component, we can say power supply, auxiliary port, console port, fast Ethernet available. Okay. So this is the way we connected the router. Okay. Component has been classified into hardware component as well as software component. Okay, like internal component, external component. The motherboard, processor, RAM, ROM, NVRAM, flash memory comes under internal component. External component we can say fast Ethernet as well as that is fast Ethernet, Ethernet also available. Serial component available here. Console, auxiliary, and virtual terminal. It all comes under external components. So what is the function of each component we discussed? Okay, flash memory, IOS has been stored. RAM, running configuration stored in RAM. NVRAM, startup configuration. Okay, row, host, and bootstrap available there in the row. Then we discussed about boot process. What is the method we followed here? Boot process. Finally, what is the different way in which we can configure the router? Console port, auxiliary port, virtual terminal. We discussed. Okay, good. Finally, what is software required for configuring the router? We have, okay, Teraterm, PuTTY, Hyperterm, Secure CRT. Okay, multiple softwares are available for configuring the router. Okay, thank you.